The year my boyfriend is dead broke. I leave him later. He becomes a mafia boss and uses every means at his disposal to marry me. Everyone says that I am the first love he can never forget, the wife he cares about the most. However, he then starts bringing home a different woman every night, making me a laughingstock. Still, I don't cry or make a fuss. I quietly stay in my own room, never interrupting his affairs. Elton Carter is furious. He kisses me harshly and growls. Aren't you jealous? He has no idea that I am gravely ill. Each night, he brings different women home oblivious to the truth. Little does he know, I have just 7 days left to live. After Elton Carter did everything to make me his wife, he brought home a different woman each night. It wasn't until he met someone else that he finally began to settle down. I first met Yvette White on my birthday, right after I had been discharged from the hospital. My doctor regretfully informed me that I had only about a week left to live, which was shorter than I had anticipated. My time was even more limited than I had imagined. While I wasn't afraid of dying, I feared the pain. The doctor recommended a costly medication that could relieve my pain and buy me extra time. To afford the treatment, I had to approach Elton for his help. It was then that I encountered Yvette, Elton's secretary in the company. Yvette glanced at me with disgust and remarked, "So, this is Elton's wife. People say I look like her. I don't see how. She is hideous." As I peered into the surface of my coffee, my reflection stared back at me. I had no makeup and was wrapped in a heavy winter coat. She was right. I didn't look my best. And in fact, I was dying. One of Elton's subordinates discreetly tugged Yvette's arm and whispered, "That is only because Mrs. Carter hasn't been well lately and hasn't been dressing up. Just a warning. Don't go picking fights with her just because the boss favors you right now. You have no idea how much he loves her. If you upset her, don't be surprised if he tosses you into the ocean to feed the sharks." Yvette couldn't hide her skepticism as she rolled her eyes. She didn't think that Elton loved me very much. She leaned in, her expression smug. "Miss Johnson, what are you still doing here? Elton always sees me first, no matter how busy he is. He says that I am more important than anything else." Yvette flashed a smirk that dripped with open provocation. Her bold, arrogant demeanor was a striking reminder of my younger self. I couldn't blame her for being cocky. After all, Elton did treat her differently. He had always surrounded himself with women. Each night, he brought a new face into his life. He used them like weapons to test me and provoke a reaction. However, he never maintained long-term relationships. His longest relationship spanned 2 months, while the briefest lasted merely a few days before his interest waned. Yet, Yvette was different. She was the only one who had remained by Elton's side for the longest time. I looked at Yvette and offered her a faint smile. However, my words did nothing to protect her pride. I questioned, "If you are really that important, then why is Elton still keeping you as the other woman, as someone he can't even acknowledge? Instead of coming here to throw shade, maybe you should use that time to talk some sense into him. Tell him to hurry up and divorce me." Yvette was still young, so her temper got the better of her. Her expression instantly changed as she snapped, "The one who isn't loved is the real third wheel. You are old and ugly. What makes you think you can compare to me?" A subordinate quickly pulled Yvette away, worried that I'd be upset. However, I didn't care. I had decided long ago that I wouldn't let Elton make me sad, and I wasn't going to fight over him with another woman because he wasn't worth it. Yvette was yanked a little too hard and lost her balance, causing her to fall to the ground. She accidentally knocked over a nearby coffee cup, and a shard of glass sliced her palm. When Elton saw that she was injured, he immediately stopped the meeting. In front of everyone, he walked over and grabbed her hand to scrutinize the wound. He coldly asked, "Who did this to her?" Elton's subordinate went pale with fear. I knew precisely what Elton was capable of when it came to punishing people. But I also knew that he'd never lay a hand on me, so I stepped forward and took the blame. I did. So what? She had it coming. Yvette's eyes brimmed with tears as she leaned into Elton's arms, her expression full of wounded pride. She cried, "You are right. I brought this on myself. I fell for someone I shouldn't have. And now I am humiliated and called a homewrecker." Elton gently stroked her hair and comforted her, saying softly, "Don't be upset. It hurts me to see you like this." Elton really did treat her differently. I averted my gaze, no longer wishing to see them. I composed myself to make my request. Today is my birthday. For my gift, I would like $5 million. I always thought that this was amusing. Despite being his wife, I always had to go through his secretary whenever I needed money. This time, when the funds didn't appear in my account, I decided to visit him in his office. That is when I discovered that he had already replaced his senior secretary. Before we got married, the deal was simple. He wanted me, and I wanted his money. Elton had always hated that I was materialistic and that I didn't love him. In the past, no matter how much money I requested from him, he always obliged me without hesitation. Yet, this time, he sneered. "You want money? Fine. Apologize to Yvette first." This was the first time he used money as a means to control me for the sake of another woman. It seemed that he planned to spend $5 million to buy my pride and make Yvette feel better. I clenched my fists after a long silence. I suddenly let out a quiet laugh, suppressing the pain coursing through my body. I turned and walked away. I no longer wanted the money. Still, I wondered if Elton would regret not realizing that the money could have bought me more time and alleviated my suffering before I died. Thus, I returned home alone, the relentless pain from cancer forcing me to curl up in bed, lacking the funds for medication. I resorted to taking sleeping pills, trying to deceive myself. As long as I stayed asleep, the pain would disappear. After I fell asleep, I had a dream about a time when I was 18. Elton was still poor but loved me deeply. On my birthday that year, we couldn't afford a cake and could only envy others as they celebrated theirs. Elton hugged me tightly, hiding the tears in his eyes. He promised me, one day, when I have money, I'll give you all the good things in the world. At that time, I felt like the happiest woman in the world. In a sleepy haze, I heard my phone ring. I picked it up, and a deep, familiar voice said my name, Edie. I smiled and replied tenderly, Elton, I want some cake. The sleeping pills wore off in the middle of the night, and the pain woke me up. That was when I realized that Elton had come home. He hadn't been home in a long time. He had purchased a villa for Yvette, where they lived together like a typical married couple. Elton leaned against the floor-to-ceiling window, a wine glass in his hand, and looked at me with a tenderness that I hadn't seen in a long time. As I walked past him in search of some painkillers, Elton suddenly grabbed my hand and asked, Edie, why have you lost so much weight recently? His tone was full of concern, as if he still loved me. But I refused to believe it, especially since he seemed to have just come from another woman's bed. I pulled my hand away and replied with disgust, that is none of your business. Elton was abruptly shaken off, and his expression turned cold in an instant. When I entered the living room, I saw a cake with lit candles on the table. That was when I realized that the phone call had been real. I had mentioned my craving for cake, and that very night, Elton went out to get one. I couldn't help but wonder if this was his attempt to atone for forgetting my birthday. But I was dying. I didn't need cake, and I certainly didn't need Elton anymore. I didn't spare the cake a second glance. Elton frowned and grabbed my hand. Edie, are you messing with me? Or are you mad that I forgot your birthday? I didn't actually forget. He tried to explain that work had kept him busy, and that he'd planned to be with me after wrapping things up. However, I cut him off harshly. That is right. I am messing with you. So what? You are pathetic. I said I wanted cake, and you ran out to buy it. You are just as pathetic as you've always been. I brought up the past on purpose, as those were the moments Elton wished to forget, the ones that he felt the most humiliated by. He grabbed my collar and pulled me closer. Then he lifted me and tossed me onto the bed. He was furious, and his kiss was rough and angry. I could feel my lips splitting under his teeth. I snapped, Elton, what the hell is wrong with you? Don't touch me. You are disgusting. However, that only made him angrier. He bit down on me, hard, and growled, Edie, would it kill you to just show a little softness with me? Do you have any idea how many years I've been kept waiting? I am waiting for you to come around, to say something, or to try. Do you know how happy I was when you said you wanted cake? I dropped everything and rushed out to get it for you. And now you are telling me that you were just messing with me. He fought to suppress the tears in his eyes as he gazed at me intently. Hidden in the shadows, I remained silent, offering no reply. The standoff between us dragged on. Neither of us was willing to back down. At last, Elton let out a weary sigh. Edie, what am I supposed to do with you? He leaned down, drawing nearer and nearer. Just as his lips were about to meet mine, the piercing ringing of a phone shattered the stillness. Elton frowned. It was a call from Yvette. He hesitated, but eventually answered it. Yvette said, Elton, I am at a bar alone. Someone just tried to hit on me, and I am scared. Are you really going to abandon me for Hetty? Elton, please come pick me up, okay? He didn't answer right away. Instead, he just stared at me. Hetty, ask me to stay. Just say it, and I'll stay. I won't ever see her again. There was a hint of pleading in Elton's voice. But I said, Elton, you don't deserve it. He let out a bitter, self-mocking laugh before speaking into the phone. Yvette, I am coming to get you. Then, he grabbed his jacket and slammed the door on his way out. I watched him leave and thought, 6 days left.